Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well and I hope that you have an incredible day. I'm here to do an intuitive card reading to see what insights, guidance, and messages the universe wants to share with us, especially in terms of grounding, having that internal stability, that internal foundation that you can build the rest of your life upon, not relying solely on the external world to have that foundation, but knowing that you can foster inner peace and happiness, and it's your inside job that's going to help you get farther in life than, relying purely on the outside. So let's take a look at the cards and see what the universe wants us to know. So we have lavender. Connect to body, mind, and soul. Yeah, that's a great way to be very grounded and, have that internal security, that internal stability, is that you are very in tune with yourself. You are in tune with the signs and messages from your body because it will tell you things. If there's something amok, your body will give you the signs if you're willing to listen. And then also, taking time to tend to the inner garden of your mind, deciding what seeds you're planting, what seeds you're watering and nurturing, because what you plant, what you tend to in your mental garden is what you will harvest, that you will reap what you sow. So, if you are taking stock and taking time to pause, to reflect, to make sure your mental state is in, balanced and peaceful, it's going to help you go far. Because if we're spending all this time, energy, and attention into, focusing on the negative, having all this negative narratives, getting, more and more freaked out, worried, paranoid, anxious, fearful, all of that, it's going to impact our well-being. It's going to impact how we show up in the world and if we can show up as our best self, because we've sown all these seeds and fed them more and more and let them grow strong, it's going to be really hard to come from a balanced place, to come from an internally stable place. And then also just listening to your heart and soul, keeping an open mind and an open heart, and listening to what it is that deep down you resonate with, what you align with, what is in resonance with your soul. Because so often we get caught up in all the shoulds. We get caught up in all the societal expectations. We try to please other people, to appease them, to make, get them off our back. Because if you have family members like mine, or even, my former toxic bosses, or that toxic group and the narcissists that I escaped from, like, there's all this pressure. And then if you don't show up exactly the way they want you to, ooh, are they going to make you pay for it? There's going to make it out that you're the worst, that you're just harming them, you're ruining everything, you're doing everything wrong. Like, you'll never hear the end of it. Like, there's so much gaslighting and manipulation and invalidation. And even if you have valid points, even if you were just peacefully existing and minding your own business, somehow it's your fault. But if you are trying to appease them, if you are worrying so much about the external stability, it's really going to just rile you up on the inside. It's going to mess with your internal stability. But if you can foster that peace of mind, that internal happiness from the inside, you're going to go far. You're going to see things for what they are. You're going to see other people and you're like, you know what? That's your energy, not mine. Like when all these people come up and exploding on me and they're just like going on and on and on, and I didn't even say anything to them. Like I was, minding my own business. Even I might have even done things for them to help them have an easier day, but they are not dealing with their own internal messes and they're trying to project it onto me, to blame me, to say this is your mess, you clean it up. It's like, that's not mine. I have been taking care of myself. I have been doing the internal work. I have been fostering that inner stability, that inner foundation of peace and happiness and calm. Like, I know what's up. Am I perfect? No. I'm still human. I'm going to have off days, but no. I am in tune with myself. No, I'm not playing those games. So yeah, just connect to your body, mind, and soul so you can get and resonate with what truly matters and nurture what's most important in your life. Yeah, Azor, protect yourself. And this feels like having those healthy boundaries and knowing what's your energy and what is not. What is your quote unquote mess to deal with and what is someone else's. Because so often, I was talking to my best friend and we're just noticing all these people are not doing the internal work. They're not fostering, that internal stability, that internal foundation of peace, resilience, calm, happiness. They're not doing that internal work. They're not watering and planting seeds that will actually help them. They are getting all riled up in fear and paranoia, doubt, insecurity, stress, all of that. And that's not to say that they're bad for having their human emotions, but they are projecting it onto everything else. Their internal world is getting projected onto the external world, and it is causing all sorts of chaos and all sorts of explosions. And my friend's just like, I can't believe it. Like, this is so wrong. I don't want to have to deal with this. I'm like, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But it's like, I was picking up on the signs. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a hot summer. And in terms of actual, like, weather temperature, yeah, summer's always hot, but it's like, it feels like it's gonna be an intense summer. Not necessarily for me, like, in what I am nurturing internally, but, like, it's just things are all riled up in the external world and the energy fields. And the world is crumbling in a lot of ways. And because so many people built their internal, well, not their internal, but their foundation on the external, because they were so reliant and, dependent on the external world staying the same and not changing, and, like, sort of like with that toxic group of the narcissists, they didn't want for their actions to be called out, their manipulation tactics, their techniques and all that. They didn't want to be seen for what they were doing. They wanted to keep getting away with it because they had been up until that point. And so it's just like stuff like that keeps happening, and then when people get called out for it, they explode and they try to blame you, and they try to, the whole Darvo, deny, attack, reverse, victim, and what is it, offender? Something like that. Like, yeah, they're doing big time that because they're not wanting to look at themselves. They're not wanting to do the internal work. They are so caught up and feelings and perceptions, and it's just turned into a hot mess. And so, like, what I was telling my friend is like, hey, the best thing to do right now, because I get what you mean, you don't want to deal with it, it's too much, like, I get it, but the best thing you can do is to listen to your body, listen to your soul, listen to the energies, because you are very smart. So I think it was 2 Halloweens ago, she was going to take her daughter to a trunk or treat, but something just felt off, and so she didn't, and she ended up, like, doing this small little, like, trip instead, like, because it was on the weekend. And turns out this guy, I don't know too much about him, but he came and there was shooting at the trunk or treat. And so that's what I was reminding her. I was like, hey, you know more than you give yourself credit to. Don't sell yourself short. Listen to your body. Listen to the energies, because the energies don't lie. You felt something was off. You wanted to go to it because you're just like, oh yeah, this is a really safe area. Like, I know this place. It's really good. But something felt off. Your body was picking up on the energies. It was giving you the signs, the little internal warning system, and you listened, and you were better for it. And so I told her, it's like, don't, because she was like, I don't want to deal with it. Like, this is making me nervous. And I'm like, listen, you're allowed to feel however you feel, but I would try to avoid, feeding those seeds, to plant those seeds, to let them grow stronger, because what you spend your time, energy, and attention on will grow. And so, Have that internal foundation. Have that internal stability. Know what's up with yourself. Know who you are. Know what your energy is about. And you don't need to, associate with things that don't match. If something doesn't resonate, you can leave it. You can walk away. You don't have to give it your time, energy, and attention. You can have those healthy boundaries. If, something's feeling off that day and you don't know why, like, you're allowed to change your plans and not do it. So yeah, just be very mindful, guys, because things I feel like are going to be popping up. It's going to be messy, but we're going to make it through, Yeah. Full moon in Capricorn, take a reality check. That's what I was telling my friend. It's like, hey, don't sidestep, don't pretend, don't sweep things under the rug. If you're feeling a way, like, be open and real and honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself, because they'll have the whole fake it till you make it. And it's like, your body, your mind, your soul, the universe, like, it knows how you're truly feeling. And so if you are trying to, like, force things with your words, you're not really fooling anybody, So it's like, be real. If you're having a rough day, if something doesn't feel right, if something's not to your preference, you can own that. You can be honest about it. You can speak that, like, hey, no, I'm not about this. But also be intentional with what you focus on, because, like, how yesterday I was having a really, really off day. Like, I was tired, I was achy, I was not feeling good. And so I was honest with myself. I was like, you know what? Today isn't going to be the day I thought it was going to be. It's not going to be a day where I'm super productive and I'm like, putting out all this energy. My energy's really low. I have a limited pool to give from. I'm not feeling that great. Okay, this is what I'm working with today. But I chose to focus on more of the positive, focus on joy, focus on, love and peace, and doing things for myself, being kind to myself, being gentle with myself. And it's like, okay, what can I do to help myself have the best day I can possibly have today? Yes, I can't, be doing all this writing and doing all this stuff that I was planning on doing, but what can I do instead? And so instead, I took time to, hang out with my cat Suki. I still did the commitments that I had to do, but I took off things that I didn't have to do from my plate so I could focus on taking care of myself. I relaxed. I listened to cool music, that was soothing to my soul. I watched a couple episodes of a show. Like, went to bed early. Like, I was taking care of myself. I wasn't doing as much as I intended to, and I was real with myself. I was like, hey, this is what we planned. This is what we intended. It's not in the cards for today, and that's okay. But I still focused on what I wanted, on the positive, on making things the best that I could for myself. I still was able to get some things done. I just didn't have the energy for most of it, and that's okay. So that's what the universe is saying. It's like, be open and real and honest with yourself. Have a reality check. Can you really do everything you intended to? Do you have the energy for it? Does it feel safe? Like, is something in the energy field giving you little warning bells and be like, hey, don't do this. Hey, don't do this. Sort of like with my friend with that trunk or treat with her daughter. Be real. Listen to your body. Listen to the energy, because you're going to be getting signs from the universe on the best course of action. And I mean, you can choose to ignore it, but there are consequences for all our choices, whether good or bad. Consequences, like, in turn for me, if I, would have chose to push forward anyway, to keep pushing myself harder to get the things done that I intended to, I probably could have gotten more done, but it would have been to my detriment. I would have been worse off because I've been pouring too much from a limited cup. My cup wasn't full. Or like what happened with my friend. She could have shown up at the trunk or treat. And I mean, the universe is protecting us and all that, and she probably could have been fine, but it's like, that would have done a lot of emotional things to her and her daughter for what happened there. So it's like, be real. There are consequences, whether good or bad, and it's okay. The universe is going to work everything to your favor. But it helps to be real and honest, Full moon in Aquarius, be real. Okay, universe, I see you. I see you. Like, that's the thing. Like, the universe will use anything and everything to communicate with us. And it's just like, you can pick up on things with the energy. Because that's the energy I was feeling with the take the reality check, to be open and real and honest. And it's like, the universe is just driving that home. Be real. Be real. Be authentic, Yesterday, to be real, to be my authentic, genuine self, I had to, be honest and, like, be in reality. It's like, I don't have the energy I thought I would today. I'm going to need to have it be more of a chill, relaxed day. But then other days, you'll have the energy. Other days, it'll be, not so turbulent, not so rough, and you'll be able to get more done, and that's okay. You don't have to show up the exact same way every day. Yes, try to show up as your best self. Yes, strive to keep learning, growing, improving, and be, have the best day you can, but there are going to be some days that are so hard, and that's okay to be real and honest and be like, I'm having a rough time. That doesn't make you any less. It doesn't. You're human. You're allowed to be human. You're allowed to struggle. You're allowed to have weaknesses and flaws. You don't have to be perfect. You are the work in progress and the masterpiece at the same time. It's okay. Be real, because now more than ever, authenticity is being rewarded. People are looking for authenticity, for genuine, for real. They're looking for the truth. They don't want the fake anymore. The fake is crumbling away, and it's not working out the way that they thought it would. Sort of like with that toxic group and the narcissist. They were being very, very fake, and they thought it was going to keep working, and they can't get it through their heads why I walked away and haven't come back. They tried to hoover me back in. They've tried to use other people to hoover me back in. They've tried to get the other people who left, the few, I think it was 3 or 4 people. I think it was 3 other people that were in that group that witnessed what they did and walked away and sided with me. Not because I asked them to, but because they had the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And they're like, I don't like this. This energy doesn't resonate with me. And so they left. And so it's like, authenticity, man, being real. It's important. It's important. Yeah. Embrace the flow of life. Embrace the flow of life. Realize that some days the best you have to give is not going to be the same as the day before. Yesterday, my best was I had a limited energy pool and I couldn't get done everything I wanted to. But I still can make the most of it. I still, can be like, okay, today's going to be more of a day of rest. And that's okay. Go with the flow, because since I went with the flow and I didn't try to force things, I didn't try to push my intentions and, my plans for the day onto life and be like, no, I have to do this no matter what. Because I went with the flow, I'm feeling a lot better today. Still not quite the energy level that I would hope for, but I'm feeling less achy. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling more awake. I have more to give today, so it's going to be okay. But that's because I went with the flow. I didn't try to force my will. I decided to go downstream with the universe to co-create. And I had a more relaxing day, and I benefited from it. So, get grounded and be real. Go with the flow and take a reality check. What is it that you need right now? What is it that you truly want? What is it your soul is calling you to? What is your heart urging you to do? Because we get so tripped up in the external world and all the shoulds and societal expectations, and we often deny ourselves to our detriment. But we can go with the flow. It doesn't have to be so hard. It doesn't have to be so hard. We don't have to keep piling more and more up on our plate. We're allowed to be like, you know what? That's too much for my plate today. I will take you off. I will deal with you at another time. And yes, there'll still be some things that you can't really, push back for later, because, honoring your word and your commitments And, other people could be relying on you. Like, I still had to, make sure the boys were okay, make sure they got to where they needed to go, had to check on the dogs. But otherwise, I was like, you know what? I push pause on the other things because that's not the most important thing right now. I gotta go with the flow and be kind and loving and gentle with myself. But if, you can get grounded and have that internal stability, that internal foundation of peace and happiness, like you're okay if you're not being super productive. You're okay if you need a day of rest. You're okay if you can be like, you know what? I need to push pause on that. Because your worth isn't determined by your productivity, by what you give to the world. Because people are like, oh no, like I have to show up for all these people and I have to, do all these things. Otherwise I'm no good. No. You're inherently worthy and deserving just as you are. Just as you are. You don't have to be, super mom or, a superhero to be deserving and, be like cranking out stuff all the time. No. Some days you're going to need to rest and that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Take a breather. Last quarter moon in Cancer. That's the thing. So often, because with what I was talking to my friend, these people are getting all riled up and they're exploding and they're lashing out at other people and they're pointing fingers and all that because they're not taking their breather. They're not taking time to rest, to process, to deal with their internal struggles, their internal messes, their internal, energies that are all riled up and out of whack. If you can take a breather, if you can stop guilting yourself and punishing yourself for needing rest, you're allowed to rest. Heck, even with the external world and the seasons, plants need rest. They go to sleep in the winter, like all the trees lose their leaves. Like, life has seasons of rest, days of rest. Like, there's been a lot of storms, and it's like when all the rain is like, all the animals are going into rest, like the world gets quieter, like aside from like thunder and some of the rain, but like it kind of goes into this pause, this breather mode. And that's natural to like, so that's why the universe wants us to go with the flow, to, be real, to take a reality check, to take a breather, because by taking the chance to rest, to relax, to tend to your internal thing, to remember to breathe, you are righting yourself. You are tending to your internal world, which will be reflected back to you in the external. Because me and my friend, we are coming from this like pretty calm, chill, peaceful place. Our energy is very much that. And we're looking around and like we'll look at each other and we're like, what's their deal? Like, why are they making out to be so crazy? Like everything's chaotic and everything is like, doesn't have to be that complicated. We can just be chill. Like, we don't need to be going at each other's throats. We don't need to be attacking and lashing out. Like, no, we look at each other confused. Like, why is it like this? We don't get it. But, if they're not taking the breather, if they're not taking time to tend to their internal world and they're planting, certain seeds and they're watering certain seeds, it's like, yeah, that's going to show up. They're going to have to, reap what they sow. Deal with the natural consequences of things. And so you don't need to do that to yourself. You can take a breather. You can be gentle with yourself. Embrace the dark. Shine your true light upon this earth. That's the thing. You can focus on grounding yourself and having that internal stability, that internal foundation of peace, of happiness, of calm. You don't have to let the external world's chaos dictate the state of your internal world. You don't have to, beat yourself up just because you need a day of rest. You can be like, no, I'm going to be kind, loving, and gentle with myself. I'm going to respect myself and tend to my needs. I'm going to allow myself to rest. And when you do that, you let your true self shine, because life isn't about beating yourself up. Like, you don't see the trees beating themselves up if they need to rest during winter, or if like the different animals that hibernate during winter, you don't see them beating themselves up. There's like, no, this is the natural thing. This is what I need right now. They don't beat themselves up for rest or not being able to be productive and, being out and about in the world. It's like, no, they're allowing themselves to. And they're actually able to thrive and be healthy because they allow themselves to. So embrace the dark. If you have a rough day, embrace that and be kind and loving and gentle with yourself. You can allow yourself to be. You're human. You don't have to be, only the light. It's yin yang. You are human. You have, that light side, but you also have the shadow side. And it's okay. You can process things. You can work through things. It's going to be all right. It can be easier said than done some days, but it's okay. Feel and release. Release all you've accumulated on this journey. And this feels like releasing what no longer serves. Releasing, the obsessions, the fixation, the need to be having this rigid control, fixed mindset. Like, it has to be this way. I have to be productive. I have to show up in this way. Otherwise, I'm worth nothing. I can't rest because there's so much to do. And it's like, there will always be things to do, honestly. Be gentle and loving and kind to yourself. Like, come on now. Feel and release. Don't deny yourself. Don't, pretend like things aren't happening and sidestep it and sweep it on the rug and be like, no, everything's fine. Everything's great. I'm always happy. Good vibes only. It's like, listen, we're human. Like, we can't have good vibes only. Like, there are gonna be things not to our preference. The world is gonna show us contrast. And the contrast is gonna help us be even more certain of what it is that we do want. But that doesn't mean we have to fixate on it. We can acknowledge it. We can allow it and be like, you know what? Like, yesterday with me, I was like, you know what? This isn't my preference. I would rather have the energy, and I rather would be feeling well, and I'd rather be able to do everything I intended to. But it's like, why am I going to beat myself up for it? Why am I going to shame myself and guilt myself and be like, how dare you? It's like, this is just the reality of the situation. This is the cards I've been dealt with today. Let's make the most of it. Let's embrace it. Why be mean to myself? Like, my friend was like, oh, that sucks. And I'm like, yeah, it does suck. But I'm like, why fixate on it and complain about it? Like, that's not going to change anything. That's not going to help me feel better. What's going to help me feel better is being kind and loving and gentle with myself and actually doing things I enjoy and allowing myself to rest. So feel and release, guys. Like, we don't have to be taking all this on. We don't have to keep piling all this stuff onto our plates. We don't have to do that. We can go with the flow. We can take a breather. We can be real and protect ourselves, connect to ourselves, What does your heart want? Be free to manifest your heart's desires. Your heart wants what's best for you. It wants you to live a life where you're happy and peaceful and able to thrive. And that doesn't mean like every day is going to be 100% that, but you get to choose what you focus on. Like, literally, like, I could have chose to be like, been in a pity party and like, man, yesterday. And it's like, I could have chose that. And it wouldn't necessarily be quote unquote wrong for me to do that. It's very human. But it's not what my heart wanted. My heart didn't want to be in that negativity. My heart didn't want to complain and be like, man, and like just like fight the world and fight against the reality of it and fight against like, oh, I don't have energy and all that. Like, that's not the best way to spend my time, energy, and attention. I can choose it. There's nothing wrong with choosing it. Like, also, just a little caveat there, like, just because you have your emotions and you're having a rough day and all that, that doesn't give you a free pass to lash out at other people. I'm not saying you do it. I know we all have our bad days and we can make mistakes. And so, like, own up to things and all that and be gentle with yourself. But, like, there are so many people that I've come across where they just think that they get a free pass to just dump all this nastiness on you because they're having a rough day, because they're in, the heat of their emotions, and then they'd act like nothing happens. Like, no, that's not okay. Like, I'm not, like, holding it against you per se. Like, I forgive you, but at the same time, it's not okay to do that. I'm not going to act like nothing happened. I'm now going to have more distance between us because you're now not owning up to it. Have those healthy boundaries. I'm not going to be nasty to you, but it's like, also, it's not okay to do that. I'm not going to give you a free pass. Like, I'm not going to open the door to let you back in to do that to me again, kind of thing. I acknowledge that you can learn, grow, and improve. Anyone and everyone can do that, but it's a choice. Not everyone chooses that, you know? So what does your heart want? Where does your heart want you to go? What does your heart want you to do? What lights you up inside, you know? Let it out, let it flow. Open up the heart to feel it. Yeah. Allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to have your emotions, process them, feel them, even if it's uncomfortable. Like yesterday, it was an uncomfortable day. There was a lot to feel in terms of achiness and like not feeling so great. But I allowed myself to have it. I allowed myself to be gentle. I allowed myself to rest and relax, and I'm all the better for it. You know, I didn't punish myself. I didn't guilt myself. I didn't shame myself for having that human day where it's like, I have low energy. I'm not feeling good. My body's very achy, feels yucky. And it's like, it is what it is. Process it, feel it. Don't, shame yourself for it. And then you can allow it to naturally flow, and then it'll be over. Like the storm will pass. The storm won't last forever. These emotions, these aches, all of it won't be forever. So allow it to flow freely, because if you decide to sweep it on the rug, to ignore it, to pretend like it's not there, you're just storing it in your body, and it just leads to more problems, As Shrek says, better out than in. Like, it's better to release it, to allow it to flow freely, And sometimes you need to, like, kind of push pause on it temporarily because it's not the best place for it. It's not necessarily a safe place for it. But in the end, you need to allow yourself to feel, to process, to let things flow. Yeah. Ostrich, the choice is clear for you now. Follow the wisdom and truth you feel in your heart. That's the thing. Open up your heart so it can communicate openly and honestly with you, so you can listen to what it truly has to say. Because if you close yourself off, you're not going to be able to hear your heart. You're going to have all these walls around it, and you're not going to trust, and you're not going to have the ability to hear what it's telling you, because the heart, it can be very gentle. It's not going to be very forceful with you. It's not going to, scream at you like the mind can, because the mind can be an intense place, guys. But you are realizing that you don't have to do things the same way. You can be open and honest and real. You can embrace the flow. You can relax. You can take the breather. You can release. You can connect to yourself fully and completely. You can show up as you are. You can be authentic, genuine, and real. What is it that your heart wants? Listen to your heart. Because you don't have to keep doing things the way you used to. You don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to, be pushing yourself harder and harder and harder, and never allowing yourself to process, to feel, to breathe, to relax. You don't have to keep going and going and going. You're not the Energizer Bunny. You're not. Parrot, let go of others' thoughts and opinions. It's time to embrace who you really are. Yes, you don't have to keep up with all their expectations and all the societal shoulds and, appeasing everybody else. Who is it that you are? What is it that your heart wants? What allows your soul to shine freely and brilliantly? Because it's time for that. It's time for that, guys. Heron, let go of convention and follow your own unique path. You don't have to be like everybody else. You can go with the flow. You can tune in with who you really are. That's why the universe at the beginning of this reading said connect to body, mind, and soul. It wants you to be authentic and real and your whole genuine self. Don't hide away anymore. Don't hide away anymore. The swordfish, focus. What is it that you want to focus on? What is it that you want to nurture? What is it that you want to grow? What is it that you want to be the driving force in your life? What is it that you want to be the internal foundation of your life? Because you get to choose that through your focus. Like, you can be honest and you can be real and you can have, that reality check, and it's like, no, this is where I'm at. These are the cards I've been dealt with today. If you're having a low energy day, that's fine. You're having a low energy day. If you're having a rough day with emotions and they're running high, or you just feel gross and yucky and like the body's aching, you can be open and honest about that. But what is it you're focusing on? What is it that you want to focus on? Because what you spend your time, energy, and attention on will grow. So you can choose to focus on, like on peace, happiness, love, kindness, respect, fun. You can choose to focus on whatever you want. And that is going to determine what your harvest, you reap what you sow. And it'll also lead you to freedom, the eagle. Like, if you can be open, honest, and real, if you can embrace the flow, if you can take time to rest, if you can just be real with yourself, you're going to be so free. You're not going to be constrained by, appeasing other people and societal expectations. And, these are the shoulds. This is what I'm supposed to do. What is it that you want to do? What does your heart want, guys? Be free. Be loving. Yeah. Reflect. May you discern and distill. What is it that you truly want? Take some time to pause. Take a breather. Be real with yourself and reflect on what it is you want. Use your discernment. You don't have to, give your time, energy, and attention to things that do not serve you. You can take that reality check and it's like, no, what is it that I actually want? What is it that my heart wants? What is it that I want to release? How can I shine brightest in this world? What will bring me joy? What will bring me peace? What will bring me fulfillment? What will bring me, stability? Because you get to choose. You get to choose. And you can soothe yourself. Like, taking time to take care of yourself, you're going to be in such a better position. You're going to be able to show up as a better version of yourself. You're going to be able to do your best, and your cup will be full. And then you'll be able to do all the things that you want within reason, because some things you have to, push pause on stuff. Like, I had a pretty good day yesterday because I took care of myself, but I also had to pause and be like, okay, I can't do everything I intended to, and that's all right. May you settle gently even as the wave breaks above. That's the thing. Even if the external world is chaotic and turbulent and is all heated up and having those emotional volatile explosions and people are losing their minds, like, you can have that internal stability. You can ground yourself. You can take care of yourself so that your foundation is one of internal peace, internal happiness, internal respect, internal calm. And it's like, you know what? Storm may be raging outside, but I am going to be the internal calm. I'm going to choose how I show up. I'm going to choose what I focus on. I'm going to choose what I associate with. And I'm going to create a life for myself where I can thrive and do my best. And that may mean that I don't go certain places, or I don't associate with certain people, or I don't do certain things. That's not good for my life. Like, me personally, this isn't a judgment about other people, by the way, but me personally, I have never resonated with alcohol. Never. Not once in my life. Part of it, I think, is because I saw all the chaos it brought with my family, because they struggle so much with alcohol. Like, I've had an aunt who was beating the heck out of a cookie tin, and it never was the same, and it never could close again. And, like, they just have all this rage and upset and, like, chaos. And I'm like, I don't want that for myself. And, like, I would see peers and be like, oh yeah, I had so much fun at this party over the weekend. I drank so much. It was so much fun. But I was on the toilet the rest of the weekend. I'm like, how is that fun? Like, you're harming yourself. Like, you're sick for the whole rest of the weekend. How is that fun? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't resonate. And I knew what was good for me. And that doesn't mean I'm judging other people like, how dare you? But it's like, no, that doesn't align with me. That doesn't resonate. I don't want that energy. If that's what you want, you get to make that choice. You get to choose what you associate with. I don't choose to associate with that. It doesn't resonate, And so, because I know who I am and I can be open and real and honest and be like, no, that's not for me. I don't choose that. I have a much more calm life because, I'm not selling myself out and be like, okay, guys, just because it's the cool thing to do and that's what everyone else is doing, I'm going to drink too. It's like, no, I'm not interested in that. It does not resonate, so I do not subscribe. It doesn't get my time, energy, and attention, And it can be easier said than done. People have their peer pressure and all that, but it's going to be okay. Yeah, faith. May trust steady your fears. know that in the end, everything will work out for you. That the universe uses anything and everything to your benefit. That even those really rough times, like that whole incident with the toxic group and the narcissist, like, that was a really rough time for me. But in the end, I'm better for it. I'm stronger. I know even more of what I want. And I now know a lot more about narcissism because I did the research and I look into things. And it's like, now looking back, it's like, oh, I can see all these red flags that I didn't know were the things for narcissism. Like, I didn't know then what I know now. And it's like, now I'm going to be much more aware if I come across another person like that. And so, yeah, it sucks that I went through it. Yes, it was turbulent. Yes, it was chaotic. Yes, it hurt. But in the end, I'm better for it. I'm stronger. Would I kind of rather not have gone through it? Sure. But I'm like, I can't change anything about it. It's in the past. That's a part of my story. It helped make me who I am today. And so, just I'm going to trust that the universe has my back because it does, and that it's guiding me to greater and greater things. It's guiding me to a life where I can thrive. It's showing me the signs of the best next action so I can create that dream life, I'm going to trust. I'm going to have faith. So even when fear, pokes its head up, false evidence appearing real, I can have that internal foundation to have that, stable ground inside of me that is like, no, I'm going to be okay. It's going to work out. One way or another, it's going to work out. And yeah, curious. May you open and explore. Like, that was like how I was open and I was willing to look into narcissism instead of, just being in that victim mindset. Because yeah, they did me super, super dirty. Like all those smear campaigns, like I could go into things, but like that's not here and now. But like I was open to things like, okay, what do I do now? How can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I emerge better from this? Because I can't change that it happened. It happened. Like, it sucks. It's not cool. It's wrong. It was unfair. It was unjust. Like, all these things. But it happened. So, how can I use this for my benefit? How can I use this to help build me up instead of let what they did to me tear me down? Because it could have. It was a rough going for a while. Like, there's some intense feelings, and, as a human, that's natural, but being open and exploring, like, after all the hardships I've gone through with my family, all the hardships I've gone through with fake friends, all the hardships I've gone with those toxic bosses who potentially could have been narcissists too, and the toxic coworkers, like, being open and exploring and recognizing, that not everybody is like that. Not, as the expression goes, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, knowing that there are other people out there who are loving, kind, respectful, decent people who would love to get to know me, and knowing it's like, okay, I've met some bad actors and bad apples and all this. Like, I don't have to give them my time, energy, and attention anymore. I don't have to open the door for them. And exploring what it is that life wants to offer me, And you can do that too. You can do that too. Yeah. Heart. Come from the heart space. Have an open heart. Even though people might have done you dirty, even if they might have hurt you, there are people out there who will never ever do that. And if you close up your heart, if you close your mind to the possibility, you're never going to find them. And the universe has deep love, affection, and like care for you. It wants the best for you. It wants you to thrive. And so, don't close off your heart to everyone. Have those healthy boundaries. Know who you can trust. You don't have to keep letting the same people back in through your door if they're going to keep hurting you. Be smart about it. Be real. Reality check. But also know that there are people out there who want you to succeed, who want you to be happy, who want you to have a life of peace and prosperity and just fun, But you got to be open to it. Yeah, harp, great happiness. Like, if you're allowing yourself to be open, to be real, to be honest, to be authentic, to, have those healthy boundaries, to rest, to release, to be curious, to be mindful of your focus, to allow yourself to be free in who you truly are, you're going to have that great happiness. Yeah. butterfly, a change for better. All of this is leading to a change for your betterment. You know, you're letting it flow. You're not holding things in. You're not stifling things, you know. Yeah, goldfish, increase in material wealth or spiritual growth. Like, you are growing so much, and it's going to be to your benefit. It may, you know, be painful in the moment, but they're growing pains, you know. It's not always, you know, sunshine and rainbows, and that's okay. It's going to work out for your benefit. Arrow, you are on the right path regarding some aspect of your life. Like, you can stay the course. You can be a straight shot and go for it. It's okay. It's okay. You're going to be a-okay. It's all going to work out for you. Coins. Money will be coming to you. And it just really feels like the universe is raining all these blessings and, you know, happiness and success and prosperity down on you. And it's because you're open now. It's because you're willing to go with the flow. You're allowing yourself to be real. You're allowing yourself to be authentic and genuine, that it can come to you now. You're open. You're allowing. You're in the receptive mode. And, you know, it's because you also have faith. You trust. So, yeah, guys, like, life can be a lot. It has its ups and downs, but just really get clear and use your discernment on what it is you want to focus on, what it is you want to give your time, energy, and attention to, what it is you want to allow in your life, what it is that you want for yourself. You know, work on that internal foundation, what you want to build your life upon, what's most important to you, you know, because you can have that internal foundation of peace, of success, of happiness, of calm, of faith, of trust. Like, you get to choose what that foundation is. You get to build it up. I'm wishing you all the best. Please have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.